Hundreds chant in unison. Protests are spreading across the US, now more than ever. But in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, anger runs deep. Here on Capitol Hill, protesters have aimed their fury at President Donald Trump and his administration. In his attempt to remake the federal government, Trump has started targeting long-standing institutions, in many cases challenging the US Constitution itself. Democratic voters see his approach to geopolitics as brash and fear he is steering the US towards isolation, weakening long-standing alliances. Many protesters here are former federal workers. They were laid off under a harsh cost-cutting plan driven by Trump's newly created Department of Government Efficiency, led by the world's richest man, Elon Musk.
I was laid off 2 weeks ago. I work in public health. I'm an epidemiologist, and I was fired because I was still a probationary employee and only had started last summer.
Well, I think Trump and Musk are basically purging the government of anyone who disagrees with them. That's a big part of it. They're deleting web pages that mention diversity, equity, and inclusion, that mention trans people. They're attacking their opposition within the FBI and other institutions.
Musk was never elected. He's just he wants to reduce his taxes for billionaires, and he's got all the money.
These protests didn't just address domestic issues. Ukrainian flags waved across Capitol Hill as protesters demanded continued US support for Ukraine's fight against Russia.
Ukrainian community, and as Americans that support Ukraine right now in this war against Russia's aggression, I think we're really concerned about the actions of this administration.
It's devastating for us to be breaking, 80 years of a transatlantic alliance and to be siding with fascist authoritarian regimes instead of our democratic allies is unconscionable.
Within weeks of taking office, American President Donald Trump has shaken American democracy to its core. He has given his right-hand man, billionaire Elon Musk, the power to slash federal jobs. He has imposed tariffs on his allies and is threatening to impose even more. And while this is happening, he is ramping up mass deportations. There is little to no pushback from Republicans. And federal courts have tried to stall some of his executive actions. But most here fear that these damages are irreversible. But protesting against the Trump administration is becoming increasingly difficult. Trump has threatened to cut federal funding to universities that allow what he describes as illegal protests.